Porch skirts have not seen this color in over 100 years.
Do you enjoy painting?
Can't stand it.
But you're so good at it.
Which is why I can't stand it.
Greetings from Fairfield. Let's go see what he's up to today.
Good morning, everybody. Greetings from Fairfield. Welcome back to the channel.
I already said that.
Oh, well, in that case, thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here at the house next Saturday.
No, we have to say a little bit more than that.
Oh, well, okay, you're just in time, because we are about to paint our porch skirts. And we are going to paint them the original color that was first painted on these exact same porch skirts back in 1896. Ta-da! All right. Our original house color was maroon, and we actually went and had this color matched at Sherwin-Williams, where we took a piece that we found from the house that still had the original color on it. And we know it's the original color because, well, colors and color matching and paint, yeah, it's one of my specialties. And I was super curious. I actually gone up to an area of the house that hadn't been worked on that much and did a little sanding. And after sanding off several layers of paint, we came down to what was the original color. And we actually have found this color in various places throughout the house, outside. And the oldest black and white picture we have that has to date probably to at least the 1890s. You can tell that the house was definitely a dark color, even from this black and white photo. And this color actually was matched to the conservatory window. And ironically, the last time the house was painted, back in the mid-2000s, previous owners had added an accent color that the house never really had, or at least prior to them painting. And that is the burgundy that we see today. And just by pure coincidence, that's really close. That's really close to almost the same thing. A little lighter, dries a little darker, but a little more red than the purplish burgundy. But when I asked them about that, they had no idea. That was just, they just liked that color, and it accented the house really nice. And so our plan is to continue that, and we're going to bring a little more color to the house rather than just the Renwick heather that it has on the siding. We're going to incorporate a lot more of this maroon into more of the decorative places on the house, because you can even tell in that old black and white photo that even the porch columns were a lot darker. They were inverted, so they would have been burgundy with white trim rather than white with the burgundy trim. And we even started stripping it, and it even had the same burgundy bottom coat on the bottom of that. So we knew by that as well that that was our original house color. And we not only know what the first color was, it would have been painted back in 1896. We also know the second color it was painted by those same sanding samples, and by comparing it to this photograph that we have. It was a postcard that was postmarked 1912, and Mr. Beck sells the house in 1913, so he was likely repainting the house. It would have been about 17 years old So about ready for painting if he was already thinking of selling the house. And so about every 15 to 20 years, the house gets painted based on the number of times and number of colors that we saw. And I created a little color chart because you could tell by that photograph that the house was much lighter than this dark maroon. And that second color would have been a sage green. It looks something like this. Definitely much lighter. Still had the same inverted columns on the porte-cochere, likely on the front as well. The next color we find in that sanding probably would have been around 1930, based on that same 15 to 20 year mark. It was yellow. Then by 1940, 1940s into the 1950s, it gets painted gray and remained gray with the till around the late 1970s, when it then gets changed to the purple that we showed you last week. Literally had people come knocking on their door to telling them that they ruined the house by painting it that terrible purple color. It's really more of a bright lavender, really bright. And from there it went to the Renwick heather that we see today, and it's been that way since the 1980s. But it wasn't until the mid-2000s that previous owners had picked out that burgundy and started adding an accent color. So really kind of fond of it, like it, and we are going to incorporate more of it back here at the house. So all the decorative trim, like these porch skirts, the columns. There's some quarter round that also would get painted for some vertical striping. All of that is going to go back to its original maroon color and should really give the house some pop and still be completely historically accurate. So if anybody comes knocking on my door telling them that I ruined the house with this color, I'm going to tell them to take it up with the original owner that did it back in 1896.
So how many coats are we going to be doing?
That's a good question. You know, according to Mr. George Barber himself, when it came to the build plans and suggestions for building the house, he suggested no less than 3 coats of color. So, therefore, according to Miss Barber, it would be 3 coats of color.
So how long do you think it's going to take you to do the 3 colors?
3 colors? 3 coats?
3 coats. I'm sorry.
There's a difference.
You're right. Well, because you're painting on primer. And
So that's an oil-based primer on the original cedar slats. And I have no idea how long it's going to take. It'll take as long as it needs to until I'm done. I gotta paint both sides and the inside.
Isn't it a lovely day to be painting outside?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Maybe between coats we'll break out the croquet.
Ooh.
Porch skirts have not seen this color in over 100 years. That's crazy. How cool is this going to look when we get all these fixed? We'll plant some colorful plantation, some flowers and ferns and whatnot. The colors are really going to pop against this red. Excuse me, maroon. What a maroon.
Wonder how much a 5-gallon bucket of paint cost back in 1896.
That's a good question. I think the prices are in the newspaper.
Ooh.
I should look that up. You know, I did find this would have, let's see, this would have been, I think this was from 1912. There was actually a company, a painting company that was trying to, I guess, get a hold of Mr. Beck. And so rather than, I guess, like sending him junk mail in the mail, they just printed the story in the newspaper, trying to sell him on some paint. He had already painted the house, though.
Letter to J.A. Beck, Fairfield, Iowa. Dear Sir, perhaps you won't have anything to do with mixed paints. We don't blame you, but DeVoe ready paint is not a mixed paint. There is twice as much paint in a gallon of it as there is in a gallon of some of the mixed paints. N. Avery of Delhi, New York, owns 2 houses exactly alike. Painted one with mixed paint, took 12 gallons. Painted the other with DeVoe. Bought 12 gallons and had 6 gallons left. It has taken a great many years to find out the best, and it takes a lot of machinery to grind it properly. More than 2,000 years, men painted with lead, and more than 200 with linseed oil. About 50 years ago, they began to use zinc. All painters know lead and oil. Most painters know lead and oil with zinc. Mixed in, it improves their paint, wears longer, does not chalk or powder off so soon. 1/3 more zinc than lead is used in this country. But painters don't know how much zinc to put in, and zinc is hard to mix, needs grinding in, and they can't grind it in. Still, nobody uses lead without zinc. Who knows his business? Yours truly, F.W. DeVoe and Company. P.S. Our agents in your city are Bradshaw and Jericho.
Mr. Beck had only painted the house twice while he was here. The first being this maroon color, and the second being a sage green, which is also another popular color back in the early 1900s. The name of the color that the previous owners picked was called gooseberry, and that's just a funny way of saying burgundy. However, historically speaking, when it came to paint colors, they didn't have a ton to choose from. And so on the color charts, it was always listed as maroon, not burgundy. Even though, you know, they're kind of the same. Maroon has a little more red in it. So it's a little closer to the red side. But yeah, back in 1896, they didn't rely on catchy, trendy names. Fiery Sunset, Coffee Bean, Winter Solace, Solstice. It was just light blue.
Paint blue.
Paint blue. They didn't even call it paint blue.
They didn't?
Nope.
Then why is it called paint blue?
It's haint. The haint is short for, not really short for. It's
Is it that voodoo spirit name?
yeah. It's like haunt. Take care of the evil spirits. But speaking of which, These paint blue ceilings, porch ceilings, they were also originally the same maroon color. They weren't the blue that we see today. That was added in the mid 2000s. The ceilings, all of the porch ceilings, I did samples on those as well. They were always the same color, a little boring, but same color as the house. So as I sanded the siding to get color samples there, I sanded the porch ceiling. It came up with the exact same colors: maroon, sage green, yellow. Seems a little weird, but when the house was gray, the ceilings were gray. And even when they were the Renwick Heather, they painted them Renwick Heather. And so it wasn't until the mid 2000s that they were painted with the light blue, which is really kind of more of a predominant color in the South to do that rather than here in Iowa. Aren't too many examples of that being used here. And so we will be doing them the same way that they were done back in 1896, which is this maroon color.
Do you think it's a Midwest thing, having all the same colors, or?
I have no idea. So, you know. So to tell me it's historically accurate by leaving them paint blue, not for this house.
I just had an idea.
What's your idea?
Well, for the sign, why don't we use some of the burgundy or maroon or whatever you call it for the lettering for the barn sign?
Maybe we will. For comical effect, there's actually a rooster nearby.
Oh, shut up. To let you know you're doing a great job.
All right. And now we wait.
everything is rosy now. Looking at the world and everything that passes seems of rosy hue somehow. Why Why do I feel so spry? Don't wink your eye. Needn't guess, I'll confess, certain someone just said yes. In a bungalow, all covered with roses, I will settle down, I vow. That's why I'm looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, and everything is rosy now.
Ta-da! Now for the moment of truth. How does it look? How does it fit? Huh? Ta-da! Alright, so maroon? Brentwood Heather. I don't know. What do you think? What looks better? Before and after. But now we got one done. Now we only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to go.
Because I'm looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, everything is rosy now. I'm looking at the world, and everything that passes seems of rosy hue somehow. Why do I feel so spry? Don't wink your eye. Needn't guess, I'll confess, certain someone just said yes. In a bungalow, all covered with roses, I will settle down, I vow. That's why I'm looking at the world through rose-colored glasses, and everything is rosy now.